Hey everybody, B Davis here after another big weekend of college football. Let's get into it. Texas A&M and Texas Tech all came away victorious and all had pretty interesting games at their respective sites, no doubt about it. The Longhorns and knocked off the Sooners. John Mateer, thumbs down to him. No doubt about it. Big win for Arch Manning. The Aggies knocked off Florida. But I want to start with what happened in Lubbock. And it's not because Cam Dickey ran for 263 in the 42-17 win over the Jayhawks. It was basically what happened afterwards. And I think that this is a situation that needs to be addressed quickly by the Red Raider administrators because Texas Tech is having a great season and you don't want anything at all to derail it. In case you missed it, because it happened late Saturday night, at the post-game handshake, Joey McGuire was faced by Kansas coach Lance Leopold, who basically told him, "Hey, don't like the fact that your fans were throwing stuff onto the field. The tortillas were an issue." And then Kansas later told reporters that a Kansas staff member was hit by a small Swiss Army style pocket knife on the sideline. Not good. The tortillas are one thing, but someone sneaking in a pocket knife through metal detectors to throw at the Kansas bench, that's crazy. And that will absolutely get Yormark's attention in the Big 12 office. But here's the thing. Texas Tech knew this potentially could be a problem all season long. The Big 12 already had a rule on the books about throwing debris onto the field, and it was reinforced in the preseason 15-1. The one abstention, Texas Tech's Kirby Hocutt, because they knew that this rule was basically being directed at Tech. Get your fans under control. Don't let them throw tortillas onto the field. Well, basically the rule was essentially written for a tortilla carve out, if you will. The officials would allow for one incident, one episode, if you will. That's when Texas Tech fans start every game by throwing tortillas onto the field, and people run around, scoop them all up, and get them out of there. The problem Saturday night was Tech fans kept chunking them, kept throwing them onto the field. Red Raiders picked up 2 flags for unsportsmanlike conduct, right? It was a total of 29 yards when it was all marked off, but 2 unsportsmanlike penalties for debris being thrown onto the field. And I got to tell you something, Joey McGuire, real big time salute to him for talking about it in the post game, making it an issue, because this is an issue. Look, Tech fans, we all know you love your Red Raiders. We all know you love your team, but you're hurting them now. You are hurting them now. And the thing is that the Red Raiders, in my view, are the class of the Big 12. Yes, BYU is 6-0. I know this, but Tech, in my mind, is cruising towards the Big 12 championship game. Now, they've got a huge game against Arizona State coming up this week. Arizona State got thumped over the weekend, no doubt about that. But I think that Tech is the class of the league, and they are the ones that, in my view, have CFP material written all over them. Tech fans, man, you don't want to mess that up by costing your team extra yardage just because you want to throw tortillas onto the field. That is dumb. Let's go to College Station. Aggies moved to 6-0 as well. First time since 2016 that the Aggies have been 6-0, 3-0 in the SEC. Man, they just keep on keeping on. Third straight game that they have allowed less than 100 rushing yards. And it was also the third game in a row where they just put the clamps on the opposing team on third down. The Florida Gators, 1 of 11 on third down. This was after that they shut out Auburn, 0 for 13 on third down, and allowed only 1 third down against Mississippi State. I don't know what it is, man, about third down, but the Aggies are getting it done. 34-17 was the final score, and I got to be honest, I don't think that the game was as close as that really even indicates. I mean, DJ Lagway came out, led the Gators on an opening drive. Elko talked about how they showed him some different run fits that they didn't expect. But what happened on the very first play of the game for the Ags? Marcel Reed with a deep ball to Mario Craver as he ran down the field. I think it was 67 yards. And boom, within less than a minute, Ags tied the game, and it was 7-7. Really, really good response and really good way to bounce back out there and keep Kyle Field rocking. And as I wrote, I just felt that the Ags just basically barrel rolled the Gators into submission. You think of an alligator, gets them, and they just roll you underwater until you drown. That's basically what A&M did, right? I had no point, at no point, watching that game, did you ever feel like that A&M was threatened? At least I didn't think. I thought, okay, they got this. And to me, that is the real mark of why A&M is going to be successful this year. They have put it on these last three SEC opponents and didn't appear to be in any real danger. Now, granted, I know that these were three of the bottom tier offensive units that are in the SEC, and there's no question about it. The Ags have a favorable schedule this year. It's not like they have to go to Ole Miss, go to Tennessee, go to Alabama. They don't have to do those things, but they are about to go to Arkansas and go to LSU. Um, with South Carolina's later of a home game. I mean, they've got 3 road games coming up here. They don't get back to Kyle Field for a little over a month, right? So that's going to be a huge road grinder. I don't understand how the SEC computer spits out a schedule that has a team playing 3 road games. I think they did this a couple times during Jimbo Fisher's tenure, but why this still happens is beyond me. Don't even get me started on SEC scheduling with the Ags. Why Georgia hasn't come to Kyle Field in over a decade, that's a joke. But nonetheless, A&M is playing really, really well. I expect them to go to 7-0 when they go to Fayetteville with Bobby Petrino, the coup that he led, the internal palace coup that he led there to knock Sam Pittman out in Game of Thrones fashion, take over that job. Razorbacks still don't have enough talent. I think Aggies get it done. I think they'll go to 7-0 and go to Baton Rouge with a big one in Death Valley. Now let's talk about the Longhorns. Everyone was wanting to know, how is Arch Manning going to handle the Red River rivalry? Oh my God, John Mateer's going to play. Oh, is he going to play? Is he not? Is he going to play? Right. Here's my first question to Oklahoma fans and to maybe Brent Venables, right? It was 17 days since John Mateer had his surgery. My question is this: did you not think that you could have beaten Texas with Michael Hawkins out there as your quarterback? I mean, obviously the answer had to be no. Mateer, there's no doubt. Mateer makes a material difference in what Oklahoma can do offensively. No doubt about that. And did you hear the roar when John Mateer ran out for the very first time to give Oklahoma their first possession? It was pretty amazing. No doubt about that. But were you willing to risk John Mateer damaging his hand even more and risk blowing out the entire back half of the season? I got to be honest, that is a risk I am stunned that Oklahoma took. Um, I'm surprised that the Mateer camp would go along with that. But again, that's the power of Texas, and that's the power of the Red River rivalry. Fortunes are made or lost in that game. Certainly, names are made and lost in that game, and he wanted to do it. Once he went to OU, he knew the Texas game was big. He had that circled, but still, Mateer comes out. He goes 20 of 38 for 202 and throws 3 picks, two to Manny Muhammad. One of those was in the end zone. By the end of the midway through the second half, John Mateer looked to me like a guy that had hand surgery 17 days ago. On the flip side, Arch Manning continues to look like a guy who is figuring it out. I was very glad to see that Sark reined in the game plan for Manning, right? Go with more dump offs, go with quick passes, go with the Greg Davis vertical pass or horizontal passing game, I should say, right? That it always drove everybody crazy. But that stuff works. Get the ball out of Arch's hands, get it to Trey Wisner, right? And let your stars be the stars. Let them get out there, make things happen in open space. Wisner still finished with 94 yards on 22 carries, ran the ball well in the second half. And I thought that the one particular pass, if we're going to single out one play, I thought it was the 3rd and 7 pass to Parker Livingstone going out, where he was running straight out route into the Texas bench. That picked up a first down, got Texas out of the shadow of their own end zone. That led to a big drive that I believe ended with the touchdown pass. But still, you look at how Arch played against Florida. You look at how he bounced back against OU after the whole athletic flop article. A lot of talk this past week about whether Arch was a flop. I wrote about that, by B. Davis, what I thought a joke that was. That's the whole reason that got me going on this thing was that athletic story was a complete joke, and I think that was not journalism, but it got what they wanted, which was clicks, click, 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 click. So there you go. It is what it is. Texas was a 23-6 winner over Oklahoma. They are now 4-2, and I think that, as I wrote for the post game, are they obviously going to jump back into the top 10? No. Are they going to all of a sudden get an inside track back to the SEC title game? No. They have too many tough games remaining, including A&M at the end. But I think that the best thing you can see out of Texas right now is continuing to build. Arch needs to continue to take big steps forward week after week after week. And if he can do that, I think Texas is going to be just fine with Sark at the helm and the future of their program. That's it for me. I'm going to try to get these videos up twice a week, just like I always used to do all those years for the Statesman and A to Z Sports. Hopefully we can get some engagement. If you like what you hear, send me a note. Tell me what you want to tell me what you want to read about, hear about. Do the best that we can. You can send me an email directly at brdavis98@gmail.com, or you can send one through the Substack site by bdavis.substack.com. As I always say, tell your friends, family, and all sworn enemies that you would like to subscribe to this mostly free content. We are going to have some paid content up and running. And for those of you who already have paid to subscribe, I can't tell you how much I greatly appreciate it. But again, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your attention. It's going to be a fascinating week, and we'll see how the college football season continues to go. But that's it for me for now. Bye, bdavis.substack.com. I got to think of a quicker way to say that because it kind of comes out sounding like a mouthful. But I appreciate you being here. We'll talk with you next time.